Welcome to Jackie's Craft Table.
Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel and blog. I'm here for Spellbinders today. I get to show you their May card kit of the month. This one is called All the Little Things. Let me pull it out of the box and show you what is inside. Let's start with the kit contents page, an example page. This tells you everything it includes, and it gives you some card examples and shows you how to use the dies that are included in this kit. You always get some adhesive, and you get 10 card bases and 10 envelopes. These are so handy. I don't have to stop and make my own. I just love these. The sequins this time are some beautiful magenta colors in matte and metallic. The pattern paper is also called All the Little Things. I'll flip through this paper so you can see all of the pretty patterns. They are always very unique, and a lot of them have some gold foiling detailing on them. They are single-sided, and you always get 2 of each pattern, which I love. A few of them have these cute cats on them, which coordinate perfectly with the stamps that I'm going to show you in just a minute. They also coordinate with the die-cut shapes that you get. I love that purple faux pattern, but I think this one is my favorite. So picturesque and cute. Next, I'll show you the dies, and I'll show you them in more detail in just a minute, but I loved the dies this time. These are the die-cut shapes, and I'll show you them in more detail as well. The stamp set this time, I should say every time, but this time it's so cute because you get these little cats, and I love the way they're drawn, and you get some darling butterflies. You get a lot of stickers this time. You get some small puffy stickers. And these are dimensional stickers. A lot of them have sentiments on them already. And then these beautiful butterfly stickers, and they're dimensional as well. I will flip through the paper for you. You always get a lot, and I use up a lot of this paper. I love how smooth it is, and I love all of the colors that they have. And then they always give you a gold or some kind of metallic paper, and this is double-sided gold this time. These kits are just always so much fun to create with. You've got everything you need in one kit. I'm going to pull out the die-cut shapes now. You get 2 of each shape, and I'm going to speed this up quite a bit, or we'd be here all day, but it's just enough to give you an idea of what it includes. I always like to put my florals in one corner of the box, and my sentiments in another. I put my critters in the 3rd corner, and then just random shapes in the 4th. And I like to go through each and every piece so I know what I'm dealing with or what I'm working with here. If you'd like to purchase these die-cut shapes separately, you can. And you can also purchase the stamps and the paper pad separately if you're interested in just that. Let me show you a closer look at these dies. I love this little unique frame die that they have this time. The word die says lovely, and then you get a few flowers and greenery. And then you get all of the dies to cut out the butterflies that go to the stamp set. I just love it when they have coordinating dies. It's so much fun. Now let's hop into our first card. I'm going to pull out this beautiful gold and green striped pattern paper. I'm going to cut it down so it's just a little bit smaller than my card base. I like to have the edges of the white card base show through. I really love all of the striped pattern paper that came in this pad this time. I'll use the double-sided adhesive to adhere it onto my card base. And then I do use a craft pick to pull off the release paper. Just makes it more quick that way. And now I can center my green striped paper onto my card base. I just love the way that looks. These cards are so fun to create. And now I'm going to do some die cutting. I'm showing you the dies and the paper that I'm using for this. But look how pretty that looks cut out with the gold. And then I really love this delicate die that says lovely. And now to adhere everything together, I'm just using some liquid glue to attach the center of this frame to this gold metallic paper. I'm going to use the foam tape to give some dimension to my frame. And then I will just center that on my card. Going to be a little bit above the center line. And then I loved this sprig of flowers and greenery from the die cut shapes. The sentiment, I'm just going to adhere down below this. It's just delicate and beautiful. This is a really fast card to put together. And then another die cut shape butterfly. Lastly, I'm adding a few of the magenta sequins around this card. I love how they included metallic sequins as well as matte sequins. And that finishes off my first card. I always like to decorate the inside, and I used another die cut shape and some pattern paper for the inside of this card. On card number 2, I stamped out one of the cats with some white cardstock that came in the kit. And that's going to be the focus of this card. But I really loved this blue floral pattern paper, and I'm just centering that onto my card base. The sentiment is going to say, "Oh, happy day." I love all the little sentiments in this stamp set. And I'm going to stamp that onto my yellow cardstock with my VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I love this ink because you can stamp in one stamping, and it stamps out nice and thick and black. Next, I'll stamp out a butterfly onto the pink cardstock. I go through a lot of the cardstocks from this kit when I make these cards. I just love it. All of the cardstocks I'm using for this card match beautifully with the pattern paper. And then I'm going to also cut out a green banner and glue these together. It just needed a little something more for the sentiment. I am also going to pop this up with some more foam pieces. But first, I am going to add some Copic marker details to my little cat. I'm just putting a little bit of pink down in its ears. And then to add some shading, I'm using a gray Copic marker. I have a tendency of being too heavy-handed when I put in my gray shadows, so I'm just trying to keep it very subtle and not turn it into a gray cat. I want it to be definitely be a white cat. I do come back and add a little bit of pink to its cheeks here in just a minute. But I just love how this cat is drawn up and its cute little expression. This is my favorite of the two cats. I have a lot of friends who love cats, so I'm going to be using this stamp set a lot. I would love to have a cat, but I'm so allergic. But it won't stop me from making cat cards. Look how cute that is. Once I pull out all of the foam squares from this adhesive, I just start cutting up the negative space, and it works perfectly. And I'll just put that at the bottom of my card. I'm also putting some squared foam adhesive behind my cat, and it's going to be sitting on this banner. There, I think that looks so cute. The butterfly I'm just going to glue down flat. And now for some more of the sequins. And then I'm going to come in with my pink Copic marker again. I'll add some shadows to the little butterfly, and this is also where I put the pink cheeks on the cat. But this just gives it a touch more of dimension. I love how the white cat just pops off of this very busy pattern paper. I was afraid if I colored it in with any different color, it would just get lost. But here is a close-up of card number 2. On the inside, I use this Darling Kite die cut shape. On card number 3, I'm using this very picturesque piece of pattern paper. I just love this one. I'm cutting it down again so that it is a little bit smaller than my card base. I also really love this piece of mustard-colored pattern paper, and I'll be using that here in just a minute. But I'll use some more of the double-sided adhesive to adhere this onto my card base. This is a nice, strong adhesive. It does take a little bit of time to use, but I love using up all of the supplies that come in these kits. I'm going to use one of the Spellbinders fancy edged ovals to cut out this piece of mustard cardstock. I'm using some more of the double-sided adhesive to adhere this onto my card panel. And then I really loved these tree shapes. They're just picturesque, and so I wanted to use them in front of this oval, and the oval kind of helps them to stand out a little more from the green of the pattern paper. I'm just adhering those down flat. I love the little clouds too. It just adds a little touch of color. The car I'm going to pop up with foam squares. And then I loved this little sign that says this way, and the car is going the opposite way. The people in this car are going off the beaten path. And then the arrow will just be adhered down flat. And now for a few more clouds. I end up adhering down 3 of these cute little clouds. You could easily make up 2 of each design if you wanted to. I love how much stuff comes in this kit. I was lucky I was able to peel up the top of this tree so I could put 1 cloud behind it. I'm stamping the sentiment that says, "Hello, lovely," onto a piece of white cardstock. I'll let this VersaFine Clair ink dry a little bit before I handle it to cut out the sentiment. And I cut it out just right around each letter. So it's just a teeny sentiment. I'm going to glue it down flat. I'm going to use my tweezers to adhere this to my card. I didn't want to get glue all over my fingers. And here is a close-up look. I love how this one turned out. All of the papers and die-cut shapes are just charming. Now, I have to apologize for card number 4. My camera stopped filming and I didn't realize it until I had completed most of the card. But I'm just putting down a piece of the pink cardstock onto my card base. And I really love this blue striped pattern paper, and I'll adhere that down next. I'm going to use one of the floral die-cut shapes again, as well as the sticker that matches it, and it has a sentiment that says thanks. And then I'll pop this card into my Mini Misty and stamp out the sentiments from the stamp set, and it will say, "All the little things you do mean so much." I stamped it right between the blue lines, and I just love that effect. Here is a close-up, and again, I apologize for losing the footage. I will have still shots on my blog if you're interested in getting another look at this one. Here's a peek at the inside. And I did use more sequins on it as well. I really liked how the sentiment looked between the stripes on the pattern paper, so I'm going to do that again for card number 5. This one says, "Hello, lovely." And I already die cut all of my pieces that I'm going to be using. Look how cute that frame die looks cut out with the green paper. I just love that piece. I'll adhere my pattern paper down flat inside this green frame. You get enough double-sided adhesive to last you a long time, but I get lazy sometimes, so I just pull out my dot liner. The shapes I'm using for this card all have to do with card crafting. I love the little envelope with the flowers sticking out. I'm using the stamps and the pencil and the little bottle of ink. I just loved all of these together. I'll adhere my pattern paper down onto my card base and start putting them on the front of my card. The envelope I'm going to pop up with a little bit of the foam tape. I have just a little bit left, and I do end up using up the whole thing. I'll cut that down to size and pull off the release paper. And so this is the focus of my card, this little envelope with the flowers. I realized that I hadn't glued my frame down yet, so I'll adhere that with more of my dot liner. I knew that I wanted all of these pieces on the front of my card, but I sure did fuss a lot with them and getting the placement right. What I end up doing is adhering them along the edge of this frame. So I'll start with my envelope. And then next I'll put down this cute little bottle of pink ink. And then these stamp die cut shapes are so darling. I just had to use those. The pencil was the hardest piece to place. It was just so long, I guess. I didn't want to cover up too much of the frame because it just looks so cute. My last little stamp, I'm going to put more foam adhesive behind it. You can sure get a lot of use out of this foam square that they give you. And I keep all the little bits to use. This is a pretty simple card. I think I put just enough of the die cut shapes on this card to keep it interesting, but not to overwhelm. You can clearly see each and every piece. And of course, I love how it relates to card crafting and sending cards out in the mail. I'll add a few more sequins and this card is done. I hope you enjoyed this video today and got some inspiration from watching. Here is a close-up of card number 5. I will have the link to this card kit in the description below and over at my blog, as well as the links to the extra add-ons that you can purchase separately and all of the products that I used. Thanks for joining me today, everyone. I hope you're all doing great and taking care. I'll be back again soon with another video. Bye.